Imagine discovering that the person you love is completely different from what you thought. That she hides secrets that could destroy everything. I'm Michael Thompson, heir to a $50 million empire in Seattle. When I lost my wife, I promised to find a real mother for my son, Tommy. But how do you know if someone loves you for who you are or for your money? I decided to do a radical test. I disguised myself as a homeless person along with my 8-year-old son on the streets of Seattle. What happened left me in shock. And you won't believe what I discovered about the human heart. It was a cold October morning in Seattle when I made the riskiest decision of my life. My name is Michael Thompson. I'm CEO of Thompson Construction, a company my father built from scratch, and that's now worth $50 million. But all that money couldn't save Sarah, my wife, from the cancer that took her 2 years ago. Tommy, my 8-year-old son, was suffering. He needed a mother figure, but as a millionaire widower, I only attracted gold diggers. Women who pretended to love my son while mentally calculating my bank account. The night before, Sarah had appeared to me in a dream. She held my hand and said, "Michael, find someone who truly loves Tommy, not for what you have, but for who you are." I woke up with tears in my eyes and a crazy idea in my head. "Tommy, come here." I called my son the next morning. He came down the stairs of our mansion in Bellevue, still in his pajamas. "Dad, why do you have that weird look?" "We're going to do an experiment today. A special game." "What kind of game?" I explained my plan. We were going to disguise ourselves as homeless people to discover who really has a good heart. Tommy got excited. For him, it was an adventure. We went to the attic and got old clothes that were stored away. I tore a shirt. Tommy chose a coat too big for him. We went out through the backyard, got dirty with soil, and messed up our hair. "Dad, nobody's going to recognize us like this." We took my simplest car, a Honda Civic I use for discreet situations, and drove to Pike Place Market, downtown Seattle. I chose a spot near the bus station where many people passed by. "Remember the deal, Tommy. We're hungry and have nowhere to sleep." The first hours were devastating. Executives in suits walked by, hurriedly, looking away. Tourists took photos of the fish vendors, but pretended they didn't see us. A woman in high heels threw some coins without even stopping. Tommy began to get discouraged. "Dad, are people mean?" "No, son. It's just that everyone's in a hurry. But we'll find someone special." I was already considering giving up when she appeared. She was a young woman, about 25 years old, wearing the blue uniform of a cleaning company. Her brown hair was tied in a simple ponytail, and she carried a worn backpack. But what caught my attention were her eyes, kind and tired at the same time. She stopped in front of us and crouched down to Tommy's height, not caring that her pants would get dirty on the wet ground. "Are you guys hungry?" I was shocked. She was the first person who actually stopped to talk to us. "Wait here for a minute," she said, opening her small purse. I watched as she counted coins and some crumpled bills. There wasn't much there, maybe $30 at most. "Look," she said, looking directly at Tommy with a maternal smile. "I have $28. It's all I have for the next 2 days. But a child can't go hungry." My heart almost stopped. This woman was giving all her money to strangers. "Thank you, miss. What's your name?" "Julia. Julia Martinez. And you?" "I'm Mike, and this is Tommy." "Hi, Tommy." She smiled at my son. "How old are you?" "8, Aunt Julia." What a polite boy. "There's a sandwich shop around the corner. Buy a sandwich for Tommy, okay?" Julia stood up, adjusting her backpack. "And aren't you going to have lunch, sir?" She shrugged. "Oh, I'll manage." The important thing is the child doesn't go hungry. I have to get back to work, or my supervisor will kill me. But when I get off at 6, I'll come back here to see if you guys need anything else. I couldn't believe it. She not only gave all her money, but also promised to return. "Thank you so much, Julia. You're an angel. Don't mention it. I just did what anyone would do. People help people, right?" She entered the commercial building, waving. Tommy pulled my sleeve. "Dad, she's just like Mommy in heaven." I felt my heart tighten. We had just met someone truly special. Quickly, Tommy and I changed clothes in the car and returned with clean clothes. I needed to know more about Julia Martinez. Who was this woman who had given her last dollars to strangers? We entered the building where she worked. On the 3rd floor, we found Julia talking to a burly security guard with a stern face. "Please, Mr. Marcus, don't kick them out." It was a father and son. Poor things. The boy is little. "Julia, you know it's administration orders. Homeless people drive away customers." I know. But when I get off work, I'm going to help them find a place to sleep. Just don't kick them out now." Tommy and I hid behind a column, listening to everything. "You gave them money, didn't you?" "I gave all the money for my lunch for the next 2 days. But what was I going to do?" The child looked like he hadn't eaten in a while. "Julia, you're too good. You barely have money for yourself. If we don't help when we can, who will help?" I watched Julia working for the rest of the afternoon. She cleaned each table carefully, organized everything with respect. It wasn't just a job for her, it was dignity. At 6 o'clock sharp, she came out of the elevator. She was more tired, with her uniform sweaty. But even so, she stopped at reception. "Mr. Marcus, are they still out there?" "They are." The father sent his thanks. They managed to buy food for the boy. That's good. I'll stop by there before going home. I made a quick decision. Tommy, let's talk to her. We approached. Julia turned around, surprised. Wow, what a difference. You guys are clean, with nice clothes. Did you manage to shower somewhere? Yes, a friend let us use his shower. I lied, feeling terrible. That's good. And did you buy food for Tommy? We did. The boy ate well. Tommy looked at me confused by the lies, but stayed quiet. I'm very happy. And now, do you have a place to sleep tonight? Actually, we're still kind of lost. I'm from Tacoma. I came looking for work here in Seattle. I'm a salesman, but I've been unemployed for a few months. Julia nodded with compassion. It's hard, indeed, especially with a child. Actually, we don't have anywhere to stay tonight. We were seeing if we could get into a shelter. Look, I don't have much space at home, but there's a sofa in the living room. If you want, you can sleep there tonight. Tomorrow, we'll figure out how to solve it. I was shocked. This woman was offering her own home to strangers. Are you sure? We don't want to bother you. Don't mention it. People help people. And Tommy is well behaved. He won't be any trouble. During the bus ride to her house, I watched Julia greet the driver, help an elderly lady, and play with a crying child. Her heart was genuinely good. Julia's house was in a working-class neighborhood in Ballard. It was small, 2 bedrooms on a quiet street, but clean and organized with care. Plants in the windows, family photos, colorful cushions. Sorry, it's small, but it's clean and has everything you need. It's perfect, Julia. Thank you so much for having us. While she prepared dinner, Tommy whispered, Dad, why don't we tell the truth? She's nice. I didn't know how to answer. How do you explain to a child that we were testing someone's kindness by pretending to be poor? It's complicated, son. We'll tell her, but at the right time, when I didn't know. I only knew I was falling in love with a woman who didn't even know my real name. 3 months passed. I invented that I got a job as a salesman and that we lived in a boarding house. Actually, I spent every free day with Julia. Tommy adapted to the double life. At private school, he was a millionaire's son. With Julia, he was just Tommy, a normal boy. Julia transformed simple ingredients into a tasty meal. Mike, can I ask you something? Sure. Why did you help us that day? Do you want the nice answer or the real one? The real one. Because I've been in need. Mike, a lot of need. I know what it's like to be hungry, to have nowhere to sleep. Her eyes became teary. When I was 15, my mother died. My father had died when I was a baby. I went to live with an aunt who didn't want me. How did you survive? Working at whatever came up, cleaning, kitchen, sales. I lived in shelters until I managed to rent this little house. That's why you helped us. Because I know life can turn upside down from one hour to the next. Everyone deserves a chance. These 3 months were the best of my life, but deep in my mind, a voice whispered, "How do you tell the truth without losing everything?" I couldn't carry the weight of the lie anymore. I decided to tell Julia everything. I scheduled dinner at a simple restaurant downtown Seattle. I didn't want to intimidate her with expensive places. Tommy was excited because I said that after dinner he could tell the special secret. Julia arrived looking beautiful, wearing a dress I had never seen. "Wow, you look beautiful. Is that dress new?" "Yes, I spent money I didn't have, but I wanted to look pretty for you today." I felt my heart tighten. She spent money she didn't have for me, not knowing I could buy 1,000 identical dresses. "Julia, I need to tell you something very important." "What's wrong? You seem strange." "It's about who I really am." Tommy shifted in his chair. "Now you're going to tell her, Daddy." "Daddy." Julia repeated, confused. "Tommy, why did you call Mike Daddy?" I took her hand. "Julia, my real name isn't Mike Johnson. It's Michael Thompson. I own Thompson Construction. I'm a millionaire, Julia." Her face went pale. She pulled her hand from the table. "What do you mean?" That day at the market, Tommy and I were doing a test. We disguised ourselves as homeless to discover who truly has a good heart. Julia stared at me without being able to process it. "You were pretending. You lied to me all this time." "Julia, let me explain." She stood up, her legs trembling. "You lied for 3 months. You made me look like an idiot. It wasn't like that." Tommy stood up, scared. "Mama Julia, don't be angry." "Tommy, you knew too?" Julia asked with a broken voice. The boy looked at me, not knowing how to respond. "Julia, sit down. Let me explain." "Explain what?" "That you played with me. That you made me an experiment I never played. I fell in love." "How can you talk about love? You don't know me. You know an idiot who believed your lies." People began to stare. Julia noticed and felt more humiliated. "I gave all the money I had to you guys. All of it. I went hungry to help, and it was all a lie." "Julia, you don't understand. ... I understand perfectly." She grabbed her purse, tears streaming. "I understand that you, a rich guy who had fun making a poor person look like an idiot. Mama Julia, don't leave." Tommy cried out. Julia looked at the boy and her heart broke. For a moment, she hesitated. "Tommy, my love, Mama Julia has to leave." But you said you'd be my mom forever. Julia sobbed. I'm sorry, my love. I'm sorry. She ran out, leaving me with Tommy at the table. The boy cried loudly. I paid quickly, and we left. I looked for Julia, but she had already disappeared in the crowd. Dad, why did Mama Julia leave? Because Daddy did something very wrong, son. 3 months passed. Tommy got sick. Severe pneumonia. He was delirious with fever, calling for Julia. Mama Julia, where is Mama Julia? The doctor was clear. Sometimes children respond better when the person they are looking for is present. I had no choice. I went after Julia. I found her working as a housekeeper at a house in Ballard. When she saw me, her heart raced. Michael, what are you doing here? Julia, I know you hate me, but Tommy is very sick. Severe pneumonia. He's hospitalized and only calls for you. Julia went pale. How did he get sick? I don't know. He was very sad. He stopped eating, playing. Sad about what? Because of you. He hasn't stopped asking about you for a single day. Take me to the hospital now. At the hospital, Julia ran to the room. Tommy was pale, with machines connected. My God, Tommy. She took his little hand. Tommy, it's Mama Julia. I'm here, my love. Tommy opened his eyes slowly. Mama Julia, you came back. I did, my prince, and I won't leave until you get better. In 5 minutes, Julia achieved what the doctors couldn't. Tommy responding. For 2 days, she sang, told stories, cared for him with true love. I watched from the chair, seeing how someone who loves so much could be fake. Julia, I said, when Tommy got better. Forgive me. I was an idiot. She looked me in the eyes. I love you too. I never stopped. So you guys are getting back together? Comey asked, excitedly. Son, it's complicated. Julia, I took a deep breath. Will you marry me? Michael, are you asking because Tommy told you to? No, I'm asking because I love you and don't want to live without you anymore. Julia hesitated. I need to tell you something. I'm pregnant. I was paralyzed, pregnant for months. The baby is yours. Tommy jumped on the bed. I'm going to have a little brother. Yes, my love. Why didn't you tell me? Because you hated me. You'd think it was a lie to get money. I took her hand. Forgive me for everything, for all the doubts, all the suffering. Forgive me too for hiding the pregnancy. We kissed for the first time in months. Tommy clapped. Now, yes, I'm going to have a dad, mom, and little brother. Today, 2 years later, we have Sophia, a beautiful 2-year-old girl. Julia uses part of my income to run a foundation that helps families in need. I discovered that sometimes you need to lose everything to find what really matters. And a person's heart is worth more than all the gold in the world. This story taught me that true love doesn't know social class, money, or status. Julia loved me when she thought I was poor, and that proved her heart was genuine. Sometimes we make the biggest mistakes when we try to protect our hearts. But true love always finds a way. If this story touched your heart, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and tell me in the comments, from what city or country are you watching? I love knowing where my message is reaching. Have you ever been in a situation where you needed to find out if someone truly loved you? Share your experience in the comments. Until the next story that will move your emotions.